Hi, I have said that 2020 may either prove to be Trump's Waterloo, when Napoleon was beaten, or his Austerlitz, when Napoleon came back from behind and won. My bet had been that it's likely to be the latter, a Trump win. Well, I was wrong. Joe Biden was just sworn in as president of the US. Apparently, like Napoleon, Trump's threat to take from the powerful and give to the poor was too much for the powerful. So they made common cause and went after him, and at the end, they won. Thus, while my first bet in 2016 on Trump's victory came up a 6-1 winner, this one came up a 3-1 loser. So, as the old saying goes, if you have lemons, make lemonade. What lemonade can I make here? What conclusions? What lessons? First, if I continue the historical analogy, this may be the time for Trump's enemies to get him into Elba, an isolated island where he can no longer mesmerize the masses. This would mean, in today's terms, cutting him off from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc. They already begun. But if the analogy is true, Trump may still manage to get out of his isolation, as Napoleon escaped from Elba, and have one more try. But then again, like Napoleon, he'll be finally defeated as the opposing powers rally against him and send him to St. Helena, from where he cannot escape. Whether this be actual jail or just legal prohibition against holding office, if he's impeached also by the Senate, remains to be seen. The investment implication would be that turmoil may last a while, and in turmoil, gold does well, especially with so much money printing. The second, more solid lesson to be learned is that one can be led astray by theories based on free information, because not only is it never complete, but also much of it is disinformation. Yes, disinformation has always been with us, but its degree and sophistication have gone well beyond what the world has ever seen. In fact, you may be surprised to learn disinformation today is a new military field. Most modern armies teach it, and several top generals speak about it as the battlefield of the future. For example, General Gerasimov, head of the Russian General Staff, wrote a thick booklet about it. General Claudio Graziano, head of the EU Military Commission, presented it to his staff as a basis for all future EU strategy. The Chinese General Staff dedicated a school to teach it, calling it a new total war. And of course, the US Army, which has a whole division dedicated to what used to be called psy-ops in the good old days, or psychological operations, today is called MISO, or Military Information Support Services. It's a whole new military discipline dedicated to messing with the enemy's heads to make it see false reality where none exists. So why am I mentioning it? First, because you never know which decisions you've made strictly based on blips on screen have been intentionally manipulated there for someone else's interest, not yours. Second, you never know which blips information has been withheld, which twisted, which true, which false. Third, you never know just who is providing the information to you free of charge. Why is he doing it? Out of the goodness of his heart? Free of charge? Or to make you act for his benefit, not yours, whether in elections or in the battlefield or in the market? In the case of the market, this would be the seller or his Wall Street broker or his PR person. All are very skilled in persuading you to do what's good for them, not you, by giving you so-called free information in blips on screen, skillfully packaged. Unless you have been trained to be equally skilled in detecting such persuasion and evading it, you are bound to lose money, or an election, or a battle, or a deal. Now remember, I'm not a politician, I have no interest in it, I only study it, as well as history and military history, so as to invest better in real businesses, not in what someone on Wall Street had told me is real, like Enron, or dare I say Bitcoin? The same skills now taught by armies all over the world are also shared by election strategists, Wall Street, as well as by Amazon, Microsoft, and the rest of the sellers of new, improved reality. How to avoid being convinced by such peddlers of the king's new clothes? You probably know my answer. Turn off your internet, go physical, and trust only your eyes and ears. In military intelligence terms, this would mean doing HUMINT, not SIGINT. The first is human intelligence, the second, signal intelligence. HUMINT is physical investigations, preferably of people. This would include recruiting a floor cleaner in an enemy hospital to count the towers, watching out for a sudden big batch that may indicate preparation for battle. Or in the investment world, it will be counting the unsold cars in an automaker's parking lot or counting the number of trucks loaded with steel rods leaving the factory. An example I mentioned in my book, by the way, The Sleuth Investor. Or it could be the fact that none of the VPs talks to the owner's son, the new CEO, because all consider him a fool, which you never learn unless you talk to them. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I sought the true opinions of IBM employees about their president and about their CEO, the chairman. The latter was the guy who had sold to Bill Gates the exclusive rights to software for the PC without even asking for a second supplier clause. He made Bill a multi-billionaire and IBM stock into a dodo. The employees' opinions stood in stark contrast to what Wall Street was saying about IBM. Indeed, to what Warren Buffett was probably told when he bought IBM stock, based on the numbers. As always, Hume trumped Sigint, IBM did badly, and Warren Buffett sold it. So again, how does all this apply to the 2020 elections and to investment lessons? Well, in 2020, the web was full of conspiracy theories and Looney Tunes stories about both Trump and his opponents. I tried to avoid both, so I went for the tried and true model of Professor Norpeth, who said, as I told you, that only the voters' enthusiasm matters. It worked very, very well every time since 1912, except in 1960. Indeed, in 2016, the model picked Trump as a clear winner. In 2020, it again picked him to win. Yes, the model was wrong only once in 1960, when mobster Sam Giancana stole the elections for JFK, allegedly. So was the 2020 election also stolen? Who knows? Who cares? Even if it did, it doesn't matter anymore. It's done. Biden was confirmed. What I must do now is try and see why I missed how strong was the unified opposition to Trump to overcome his voter enthusiasm by hook or by crook. Was he moving too much cheese from those who were used to it, to the poor people who could never pay him enough for the risk he was taking? And if so, could I have foreseen it if I had spoken in person to more of Trump's opponents to see and gauge the degree of the enmity and how far they'd go to beat him? Yes, it was COVID time, so it was impossible to physically visit. But there was still a phone and a Zoom screen, but no matter. I took the bet and lost. So, at the very least, let there be a lesson to you. When in doubt about an outcome, go physical and sleuth the issue directly. Do not rely on models or on other people's opinions, especially unknown people on the web. You never know who they are and what their interest is. Yes, you should learn all the physical numbers and all the financial numbers called, but don't view yourself as a stock scientist dealing with signals emanating from stocks as blips on screen. Rather, see yourself as a street operative, or better still, as an investigative reporter. Go to the spot and talk to the people involved directly. Watch what really happens, physically happens, not on paper, not on the screen, but in real life, physically. In this bet, I didn't do it, and so I must eat crow. Munch, munch. That's all for today. Let me know in the comment below what you think of the above. Subscribe to the channel. Email this video to your friends so it's subscribed to. I'll see you next time. And meantime, thank you very much for watching.